Busy. Getting up too early again. I thought I was retired.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Mayor. Ooh, that's a nice.
Waking back up at 5:30.
Oh,
Back
that's
at your
the
work.
harassment thing. I have something for you too.
My retirement says,
Yeah,
honestly,
what do you
something I don't have to work as much.
When you retire?
Yeah, I'm gonna retire just while in my life where I just don't work.
I don't punch a clock.
All of our policies.
It's not a clock I go by. It's your mind goes by a clock. It's like my cat knows when it's getting fed an automatic feeder. So after 2 years, that cat knows when that automatic feeder is going. Everything that goes with it. How you doing? Good. Yeah, it's going good. So, very interesting.
Yeah, just, I saw that.
Hi, over here.
Yeah.
Hampton.
Okay.
It is so dangerous.
Norma, I just unplugged the video. We'll be back in a second here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just unplug me.
Actually, just gave it to me. Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah, please do. If you need a meeting packet, there's some other stuff there.
Shaking hands.
Help yourself to, I'll make sure everybody gets them before we need it.
You
Okay.
good.
Hey, Wentz.
On your budget.
Good morning.
Hey. That's the hardest part of the deal is getting the budget.
Yeah.
That feels good.
How's it going, Wentz?
Good. How you guys doing?
I can't hear you. I don't know. Can you hear me? You must be able to.
Yeah.
That's my June number.
Congratulations.
Hey, David.
New hire. Very exciting.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Is that back? Can say something, Wentz, just see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Hang on. There we go. I had you on mute. I'm sorry.
Sorry. You hear me now?
How are you? Good, thanks.
With the new law.
There we go. I had you on mute. I'm sorry.
Oh, you should be a little spread. You don't have a mask, but are you double vaccinated?
Yes.
Are you double vaccinated? If you're double vaccinated,
Today,
you
I'm
don't
first
have
of
a
2 weeks. That's my.
whole hell of a lot to worry about.
The business. is over, right?
2 hours.
A business as.
Pardon me?
I'll be taking
2 hours short.
You guys.
Because we have plexiglass, we're not letting people in our office.
No,
Those days are.
I brought it.
Okay. It's 7:32. I thought Cam was coming. 1, 2, but we can get rolling here. Wentz is online. We have Wentz and Norma online. That's everybody here.
You've got the one entrance.
Yeah. All right, let's get rolling. Cam's not here, at least yet. Bob Hutchison, Janet McGregor-Plar, Mayor Moses, Chairman Palmer, Davis Bukulski, Robert Reynolds, Norma Russer-Kelly,
Here,
Wentz Valentin.
Here.
Thank you, and I can hear you. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to open the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors meeting at 7:33 a.m.
I'll make motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is open. The first item on our agenda, the meeting minutes from the April 21st, 2021 Board of Directors meeting.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Next item is the financial report from April 30th, 2021. Mr. Reynolds, please.
We had $54,000 in net income this month. And this in our industrial development agency. So we ended up with $598,088.75. Most of that was due to, if I'm reading this right, $14,000, excuse me, we had $14,000. I'm reading the year overall. We had $14,000 in that negative income this month. And most of that was due to our about $10,000 we had in benefits and due to payroll of the organization. And then we had a $4,500 audit bill that we had to take care of too as well. So that's why our expenses were greater this month. Any questions on that?
Thank you, Chairman.
I'll second.
Thank you, Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Financial report is carried. Okay, next on to the director report. Jennifer is actually on vacation this week. I gave her a pass on the call. She passed along some updates that I will speak to, and we'll go from there. In terms of with Jennifer, project closings, we have on the agenda an extension for E1. KH Industries is changing the scope of their project a little bit and expanding it. So we're moving forward to closing there, but it's still not probably going to happen in June. Bayview Road Associates, we have received the first payment from the project, and we issued a sales tax letter. We expect that to close likely in June. So Bayview Road Associates is, they were forecasting late May, but I'll tell you June. I'd be more confident in that. In addition, this is more related to the land court, but the Palace Theater should be closing in June also. We'll talk to that a little bit more later. We did have our audit committee meeting following the April HIDA board meeting to review the agency audit. That should have been distributed to all board members. It's filed with the county clerk, and that's locked in for 2020. One thing that I want to talk about a little bit later is we are likely having 2, maybe 3 applications for benefits coming in June. So I wanted to see if we could hold a public hearing date, and Janet was helpful in helping to secure the Blaisdell Village Hall. So we're looking at a public hearing in June for a number of projects, and then they would likely hit the agenda on the June meeting.
Would it be around right before our normal meeting that you're planning on, or do you have a?
No, what we're looking at doing, so we received some feedback, that the public was not able to attend the 7:30 meetings. So actually what we're looking at, we can talk to it now, is June 14th, which would be the Monday. So our next regular HIDA meeting is June 16th at 7:30 a.m. We're looking at June 14th, which is a Monday, at 8:30 a.m. We would certainly make the public open meeting available with COVID guidelines, and then have it available on Zoom as well. So if people would be interested in attending, and then with that, if we need to, we can extend the public hearing until the HIDA meeting on the 16th, or extend it even beyond that if need be.
And Sean, we do not need to have all board members, a quorum present for a public hearing, is that correct?
That's correct. Correct, because there's no resolution, there's no vote. There would not need to be a board member, all board members present, but just so you have it as a placeholder if you're available and interested.
Sean, are you going to get a lot of criticism about doing it in the morning instead of in the evening when more people can attend?
Potentially yes, Norma. That's a difficult question to answer. I think that we'll provide the 10 days notice. It can be just as inconvenient for people at 8:30 in the morning. We try to make it more of a daytime operation than an evening. So we kind of, I think more so, we all know we meet here and we had clients in meeting with the executive board. We had some potential contractors in meeting on last Friday at 4:00 in the afternoon. As a volunteer board, we try to work with the board's availability. So I think that 8:30 helps to accommodate where 7:30 maybe didn't accommodate as much.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, what are we meeting on, you said, Sean? I didn't catch that.
So, well, this is potentially meeting Wentz. So there's 3 applications in process that may come in June. One is the redevelopment of the Norfolk Southern site over on Jeffrey Boulevard. So there's a local company that's potentially expanding in over there. Key Capture Energy also has an application in process, which is a battery storage facility located on Electric Avenue in Blaisdell. And then the last one is a company that's establishing a new back office and kind of shop for their business, a Hamburg company that's building a new building. So I spoke with that owner a couple times, but most recently yesterday, and he has his application in process, has his planning approval, and is looking forward to an application in June as well. So no guarantees, but I want to give you a heads up, in foresight that these may come through. Even if chances are one of the 3 at least is gonna come through to the IDA by June. So, and also just, I look forward to moving some of these forward. There's been a lot of delays with the construction materials and the labor that we've talked about in past meetings. So anything that we can do to keep these projects going and the investment coming into Hamburg will be, certainly beneficial to the town.
Just so the public know, they can also write a letter in once the notice is out there. If they want to do a written statement for or against what's going on there, during that 10-day period, if we notify them, they can send a letter to the board.
Yeah, they can do that. And I think even on the public notices, we put our HIDA email on there as well.
If they can't make it, they can always do something like that.
Moving forward, Pitch Hamburg, we're actually making some great progress there. Probably at our next IDA meeting, I'll be able to roll out a logo. We've established a company logo for Pitch Hamburg. It's pretty cool and exciting. It makes the project all the more real. And the board has been very active, that Pitch Hamburg board, and supportive and donating their own time, their own money to moving that organization forward. Let's see what we have here. I had a meeting with the town supervisor yesterday on a company called helixintel.com. That's a local Hamburg startup. It's a technology startup company that works with HVAC and building asset management. So there's potential there it's free software, and there's potential for the town and even some of the school districts to use this software locally and support the company as they expand. If you see, you might get an email from Business First. I think it came out yesterday that this company just went through its first round of funding, and they've established, I think, around $1.5 million in funding. One of the developers is a Hamburg resident. One of the ones is a past Hamburg resident. So it's kind of our own Hamburg startup, which is very interesting. We had our first Gateway Revitalization Committee meeting. Our next one is going to be on May 25th. The Gateway Revitalization is a grant to essentially make more of a gateway transition area between in South Park and essentially the Town Hall Plaza as phase one, and then potentially expanding into phase two, more towards Hillbrook College. This will position the town in an area where they can seek an additional funds for roadway improvements and more of a gateway designation in that area. I think that's fairly covers it. We are working with Councilwoman Farrell and the Community Development Department. We do have to renew our HDC program agreement with the HDC. That was a 2-year agreement, and that's coming up. So I've been working with Councilwoman Farrell to renew that. I've also spoken to her about community development funding, and Mary, you might be interested in this, that comes through the Department of Homes and Community Renewal as CARES Act funding for economic development activities. So we're working with the town and the Department of Community Development. And Janet, we had spoken with a project on Lake Avenue that this might be better suited for than the RISE grant that we were talking about, for essentially CARES Act funding that has essentially helped to support the decline in income in local municipalities, but this would be more directly towards economic development activities. So public or private businesses could take advantage of this funding in addition to local governments. All right, any questions on the director's report? Okay, on to unfinished business. We're still collecting the sexual harassment training. I think another 1 or 2 came in today, so thank you. Just keep that on your to-do list if you have not. And then next I wanted to turn it over to Mr. Reynolds, who's been in touch with Kevin McAuliffe, the representative for Erie Wind, and just more so towards pushing local labor into the upgrade of the windmill project in Hamburg.
I just want an opportunity to update the board. I've got Sean and the president in the loop on many emails that, not many, well, the others many, emails going back and forth with Kevin. Obviously, I'm just hiring a local because the union leader reached out to me. I reached back out to Kevin. So I've been putting together now. I got a whole sheet here that I'll give this all to Mary, and she put it in minutes if she liked, on what their requirements are from GE for their positions out here. And then during that part of the discussion, I've got an email back from Thomas out of the Iron Workers. He's the president of the Iron Workers business agent. And we started breaking down like the difference between a 35-hour crane signaling and an introduction course versus what they're getting for their courses. And some of it looks like it's matching up. Some of it, they've got special training. Sometimes that special training can be here. They're using, they're out of our area people. So we're trying to keep track of that. Obviously, Janet and I were concerned about that when we voted on it. So I just taking the lead, making sure that if they're going to bring out area people in here, and if our people can match up to it, we try to hire our people over that. So Kevin's been very responsive. The company's been very responsive. Right now, I'm waiting for a contact with the company so I can set up any of the trades with a training person to say, okay, what's your training? Because I think this might be the beginning of something else in this area because we have a lot of windmills and stuff. So it might not affect us, but it might affect the whole area for labor. So I just wanted everybody on the board to know that I've been in conversations with county teams, keeping Andy up, keeping Sean up, and I'll turn this all into Mary. And if you want me to forward emails, just tell Mary and I can forward all the emails to everybody. But I just didn't know how to do it otherwise once I was reached
So he's
out.
more receptive now than he was
Well,
at the meeting,
yeah,
because he was quite frankly rude.
Ooh, Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
during the meeting, I think he was rude and not really positive about local labor. I was disgusted with his comments.
okay, and I'm not.
So
I'm
I
not
hope
saying he's reaching out more, Mary. I'm not saying he's going over backwards for us, which is kind of,
I think he
it's
was.
bad. And like the crane operators, I have it all broken down here.
Okay.
So.
So I appreciate the work and the idea of creating a conduit for local labor to talk to these corporations, because in reality, this job has been in the works for what, a year and a half?
Right.
And so I think there's a breakup in communication between people that need to know and the people doing the work. So I appreciate you working on that. I think it's wise going forward.
And again, we have a local labor law because, you can go to 6 counties out here and bring people in. That's a big reach area. If we gotta bring people in from Schenectady and Albany area to work on a project here, it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing sometimes. So I'll give this to Mary after the meeting.
Just for a question, we're told we're gonna, at least the crane operators, well, they're not happening out there.
We have certain crane operators and stuff like this, but the rigging and the millwrights, they say there's electrical issues involved and stuff. So they've got their, I don't want to say position, but they've got their requirements to build. And so we've got people out there. We do have, I think out of 40 people out there or something, there's quite a bit of people out there. We may have, between 10 and 15 people out of the 40. So
My neighbor is out there and he's an iron mark, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple, but.
yeah, but I just want to make sure that since we've established this labor agreement and, Janet's been here longer than I have on this whole board, that we kind of try to push our labor agreement with anybody that comes in the area. I mean, Amazon, we had a big disagreement, but they're at least using all local labor as far as I know on Amazon. I've heard no complaints on that.
Well, I think the thing with this project is they truly came in at the 11th and 3/4 hour.
True.
We had our meeting and literally days later, there was a crane on site over there. If you sit at the Hamburg boat launch, you can watch all the operation. I'm a loser. I have binoculars in my car. I'm not looking at houses. But when I'm at the beach.
The reason why I wear a shirt at my house.
No, there's a lot of action on the waterfront. If you're down, and I'm down there every day, it's.
Yeah, and I
But
think
they literally, they asked for, it almost seemed a little disingenuous to me for them to come at that point when they literally were starting in less than a week.
mhm.
I feel it was disingenuous. I think they should have been reaching out to the different union halls and saying, it's only a 35-hour course. But they, you know what I mean? They kind of had their people set, and we threw a teeny wrench in it by saying,
And I'm asking because I don't know the process, so please hear this, is that who's, as a previous business owner, is it my responsibility to reach out to local unions to say this is the training we need, or is it the local unions to reach out to the people? I'm in sales, right? I don't wait for people to come to me. I have to go figure out what jobs are happening, who's doing the work, and then try to get contacts of it. Who in local labor unions is responsible for reaching out to these contractors that are coming in when their job we knew was gonna happen in.
No,
It's 2018, right? I think was when we did that project. So where does the process begin? And all legit, I'm not trying to create.
No,
that's-
But that's what, we have our local agreement here, so they started providing, right here is of all the people they're bringing, so they gave a chart, what the training and there's everything, I've got that through the emails out of them, which is excellent, right? So if a company comes in and wants to use this is outside sources, this has nothing to do with inside sources, because they still have, the ability to use inside sources anywhere in here. When you go outside, they should be providing something like this. Maybe we should look at this, if you're gonna bring people from the outside as part of our labor agreement, the first thing they hand it to is us, so we have a notification on the website. Okay, here's the specialized training we need, here's why. That's not part of our requirements, but maybe that's something we have to take a look at in the future.
Yeah, I could, because I remember specifically, they said it was probably gonna be a GE product because of the problems they had from off-brand windmills.
But-
Originally came to the table.
Kevin didn't at that time say, oh, and by the way.
Correct, he did not, 100%.
So
I understand.
I think they just tried to pull a little, I personally think it was pulling a fast one. I mean, because if he had said at that time, now we're gonna have to have specialized labor and it doesn't fit your policy,
The red flag would have went up.
the red flag
Yeah.
would have gone up then.
I'm passing around the jobs that are, the titles that they have and the jobs that they're using, how many people are on the job. That's from Kevin that he gave me and stuff like that. So
And
just
this
so
is
you
right
know,
here, this is the training, or is that, no, it's the titles? Okay,
It's the
that's
titles and the
courses.
job, amount of people and stuff that they're trying to use and stuff like that. And the training I broke down on that other sheet, it's kind of harder to read here, but again, I can, Sean can, or I
I
can.
definitely think
Yeah,
something we need to
just
watch
review.
out
So,
for
I-
in the future.
you know,
Yeah,
Just a different hat I wear. So, Erie One BOCES has a huge workforce development program. So it's for people who have underdeveloped skills, adults who might be stuck in a kind of dead-end job. And what happens with workforce development, and they work in concert with New York State, is a company will go to Erie One BOCES and say, we are building in your area and we need people to have this set of skills. We're gonna work with you to set up a program. You're gonna do all the training and we're gonna feed those people right into our company.
Wow.
And I mean, huge, it's constant where different companies through, Empire State Development and different avenues are going to BOCES to set up programs like Tesla. They're not training people there. Erie One BOCES Workforce Development is training people and it's a feeder system. So there's that opportunity for businesses, coming into the area to have people trained.
So you're saying more business driven than the union going to the business, the business is way coming.
They're coming right to Erie One BOCES Workforce
It's
Development.
way being driven by the business then and not the other way around.
Right, and the unions will have an apprenticeship program because it's a specific skill. Well, everyone BOCES might have
Yeah,
different
Right.
skill levels that they're using, and
Right.
it's, it's something like an apprenticeship
so
program. It
they're,
could be a
if they're
year.
doing it with us,
Yeah.
they should be doing it with the trades. They
Right.
should be, a lot of the trades, electricians, plumbers, welders, what have you, who go into union, their first stop was when they were a junior in high school at a BOCES program. Because those people are going into the union halls and getting jobs. And we have those trades, there's adult programs, like Potter Road doesn't shut down at 3:00. Harkness and Kentown don't shut down at 3:00. They're going until 10:00 at night, teaching adults.
And one of the weaknesses, in my opinion, in the country, in the area right now, is our building trades and stuff. Skilled workers at that level. Everybody thinks it's, but it's a very.
It's a very
rewarding job.
lucrative job.
yeah,
I mean, I had to go through 8,000 hours to become a machine repairman at Ford, 8,000 hour apprenticeship, 4 years, documented the training, requirements all the way through. And then at the end of it, I can do pneumatics, hydraulics, gearing, heavy lifting and rigging. I ran a 50-ton crane at the mobile crane at the plant. I made huge lifts up in the air and stuff, but it's all training that we had to go through our apprenticeship and stuff. So again, I think this is a good learning point here, and we can take it forward and stuff. So somebody comes in, I mean, obviously, maybe one of our first questions, and he didn't answer, like Janet said, we didn't know they were going outside until the very end.
I
That's just
think
kinda-
it was a slipper route.
Yeah, but, we always thought they were gonna use something local because it was
Yeah,
a local.
right. I think you said it right, it's a great learning experience.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if maybe everybody else knew, but for me, because in my previous life as a mechanic, I don't know if I can, but Caterpillar. So if you buy a $1 million piece of equipment and it has a $150,000 engine in it, the warranty is only good if CAT trained mechanics work on it. I may know and have training from Detroit to how to work on bigger engines, better engines, but CAT will immediately void the warranty if I come over, even my qualifications, work on a Detroit, work on a CAT. So I think the 11th hour thing, I understand and I agree. But I understand also what the company, right, as far as GE is doing. So I'm saying, what's the solution? How can we create this conduit? How do we ask the right questions in the beginning of this process for any further projects? Do you have warranty specific workers that you need?
I think that's a question that has to be asked for every project.
I agree.
I
It's a
think
good point.
that's a new question.
And I think for myself, I understand the process too. You know, I'm thinking kind of along the line, well, you get paid, they have a warranty, we have that, you know, yeah, we don't want to screw that up for them. But there was a whole set of dynamics that we didn't hear either. And I think it's important that it should be a two-way conduit, it should be business driven, but the unions hopefully are also going out there and doing some outreach to these.
Well, it's not, obviously, I have a background there and I represented many workers throughout the years, but it's really, I think Janet brings a great point. This is for our whole community. I mean, if you go, my daughter went through BOCES. She has her career, she can cut hair forever. She's now a salesperson, but she's always got that second job going through BOCES. One of our hidden secrets in this community. A lot of people come out of BOCES and did a lot of things out there. We don't push that in. I'm looking at my school board member here because I was on the school board. That's one subject we really don't push. We always push kids to go to college instead of saying, some people, hey, they're great mechanics, get them in to be a mechanic, get them into this area. I didn't mean to take that discussion. I just want to make sure this board is
No,
informed.
I think it brought up good points and I appreciate you reaching out to Kevin.
Yeah.
But like Andy just said, maybe that's a question that when a project comes in front of us and maybe we need to maybe we need a script. And in our script, we talk about, we have a local labor policy. Do you have blah, blah, blah. And if you're going to need specialized individuals, have you reached out to the unions? Have you reached out to workforce development? Have you reached out to Erie Community College, which also has a workforce development program? Have you done this? And if you've not, why not? And maybe kind of
Cam's joining the meeting.
push them in that direction because we will not waive our local labor policy.
I think that, I'll run it through Jennifer, but I don't see why we couldn't put that on the application.
Okay.
Yeah, good point.
Ask the question immediately when we are in a board
And
meeting.
it's there.
Yeah.
We hammer, not that's wrong, we ask.
Well, then the person coming in with the application is also aware too.
Yeah.
Upfront, there's no.
Right.
Yeah, because we're not gonna waive.
Right.
I mean, we're dealing with taxpayers' dollars, so, we have to look out for.
I want the money to stay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of local people to be
If
working.
there's a person on Blaze on Martin Road that can do the job, that's the person we want hired that can do the job, truthfully. I mean, that's the object of the incentives. I agree. So, thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. Next, for our new bylaws, we have privilege of the floor. If anyone on the Zoom, no one is here in person, would like to speak on any of the topics, welcome, Cam.
Hey, sorry I'm so late.
It's okay. We're just in the middle of the IGA meeting, so
Buy
just so you
lunch.
know where we are.
Hey, Sean, I'd like to, on that policy update, privilege of the floor, I think that was a suggestion of board member Janet, and I appreciate that. I think it will help the process along in some of these controversial projects and even non-controversial projects, right? It's organization, we're being efficient, and it's, I think, a great way to go forward.
Good.
The
Any,
second thing I like to say, this is excellent for anybody new coming on the board. When you came on the board, you had nothing to hand to a person. On the school board, you get a manual list there, right? I really like this. This is good.
and it's all on our website. So with that, Jennifer had performed an internal audit, gone through our website. The deficiency that we had was that and if you go to it today, it's tweaked. It was not clear as to what IDA versus Land Development Corporation. What policies were particular for each? So Mary's reorganized it so that the LDC has its bylaws, the LDC has its specific policies, the IDA has its specific policies. A lot of the policies are the same, but they're for the IDA and the LDC. We need to specifically state that. So it's just kind of making it crystal clear. It was kind of translucent. So now it's crystal clear that these policies apply to each of the agencies. The policies in and of themselves have not changed. It's more so the title on the policies. So what we've done is Mary's distributed this to the board for review, and then we will do a blanket resolution. If you remember through COVID, we had, 13, we put you guys through a little bit of a couple marathon meetings. We'll do a blanket resolution. So we'll give you a month to review these, which again have had minor changes. But if you have any comments, we can address them at the next meeting and then go into a motion to re-adopt these policies that they're more particularly outlined for the IDA and the LDC. Just a little bit of a tweak.
Synopsis, I like the way it's laid out because it tells you when the last time the particular item was reviewed and what happened about with the review. Change and what was changed. Really well organized.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, next is a motion to approve the annual agency audit year 2020, which has been filed with the town clerk.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, Mr.
I'll
Reynolds.
second.
Or Norman Camp.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Next is an extension resolution for E1. This is a resolution of the Town of Hamburg IDA extending the inducement period and sales tax period for Billy Lee LLC project until December 17th, 2021. The Town of Hamburg IDA by resolution adopted on 27 December 2019 and extended on 17 December 2020 induced Billy Lee LLC for assistance by the agency, including mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials or equipment purchased for incorporation into project and real property tax abatement in accordance with existing agency uniform tax exemption policy and guidelines. With respect to lease of mortgage or lease-only transaction for the construction of approximately 10,000 square foot addition to existing building located at 4760 Camp Road by lessee as agent for the agency for lease to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee. The lessee will be the sole applicant, all for the provision of a fire truck manufacturing facility. There's been a delay by the applicant in closing the project and therefore be resolved by the agency as follows. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period and sales tax period from June 17th, 2021 to December 17th, 2021. This resolution shall take effect immediately. What's going on with this project? The construction is complete. The organization has been going through some challenges with the leadership, and while the project is complete, we have not yet been able to legally close on the project. We've engaged with the project operator, Steve Savage, and their attorney, and we've stressed to them the importance of getting this closed. It has really gone for some period of time. The agency has had the company has had some unforeseen circumstances. I don't anticipate this going to December, but they do need a couple additional months to get to closing.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Janet.
Added,
Yes,
just so
Bob.
as part of our minutes, this is the final extension like we did before without reapplying. We're doing it without extension fees, right?
Yes,
Yeah, this is like we did on the last one.
I would be agreeable to that. Yes, I would suggest
Just
that.
so they understand this extension like we did on the last one, this final extension without extension.
I'll make the motion as amended by Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you,
I'll
Janet.
second that.
Thank you, Wentz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Cam, just to catch you up, we did talk about the public hearing date, just so people have that as a placeholder. It is not set yet. It's just more of a placeholder. June 14th, 2021 at 8:30. via Zoom and at Blaisdell Village Hall. Okay, executive session. And make a motion to adjourn the HIDA meeting at 8:08 a.m. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Meeting closed. Get shuffling papers around here.
Better have a public hearing.
Yeah, of the three,
It's official now, it's on my calendar.
Put pressure on Sean, right?
So LDC, we don't need to record, right? It was still recorded.
let me thank you for that reminder.